A couple of things that have been on my mind this week as I finished work preparations on American Archetypes, this class that's going to be released really soon on my website. And in doing that, I used John Wayne and the movie Stagecoach as an archetype of American masculinity. It's almost a foundational archetype. And I just put it away, but I have a Life magazine cover that has John Wayne and Dustin Hoffman on it from the 60s. And it's the old cowboy and the midnight cowboy.
Okay.
And it's a direct, I don't want to take everything apart right now, I know where it is. But it's a direct look at the archetypes changing of American masculinity from the John Wayne 30s, Depression, World War II in the 50s, and then into the neurotic urban archetype that was Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino and Richard Dreyfuss and Robert De Niro, all of these people that were nuts. So a really interesting and clean shift there. But I've been working on that, so that's on my mind. And I think I told you that when I was working on it, I realized that the gun is almost the fifth. It's almost the fifth. You got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a gun in American masculinity. I mean, all the way back to the Pilgrims and the settlers, frontiersmen, North, South, cowboys, outlaws, Michael Corleone, Clint Eastwood, Bonnie and Clyde. It's like I have to have a gun and a penis, or my penis won't work. It's so ingrained in us, in our culture, that as I thought about it, it's always been part of what it is to be an American man anyway, is there's an attachment to the gun. It's not just the Second Amendment, it's part of our makeup. I mean, I don't own a gun, but I mean, it's interesting how much that, and what goes with it is the taking of law into our own hands. And how that's kind of permissible, not exactly vigilante, but if the law isn't doing its job, well, I will,
Sure.
And that's sort of partly the warrior, but that's been on my mind.
Just read last week in Iron John, and he was such a figure of the king. He spoke openly about Camelot, and they talked about Camelot, and even though this country, the foundation of this country, rebelled against the crown, and then there were a bunch of rebels, and they didn't replace it with a king. George Washington, they wanted to make him king. No, I'm not going to be king. Mm-hmm. He could have very well been king. He could have been anything he wanted at that point. One of the most amazing decisions ever to step back after he won the war. But there's that void. There's that void, and we tried to fill it. And when Kennedy was kind of stepping into that role, they killed him. We'll figure out who they are.
And he replaced an old warrior.
Right. But there's still been this void. So, and like you said, it's very much like you just said with the samurai. The warrior inside of ourselves, if we're looking at the 4 archetypes of king, warrior, magician, lover, the warrior is in service to the king. And at the highest level, the king is in service to the highest good, the highest order, divine order. And is that relationship to the divine, right? That's why they fly the flag, and it's the highest peak, and the flag is above all else. Mm-hmm. It's direct descendant sometimes in some cultures. In the Japanese culture, the emperor was the god, the descendant.
Oh yeah.
In a lot of cultures it was like that.
In England, the divine right of kings.
Right, it was the divine right. So there was definitely this divine connection, and then the warrior has that purpose to serve the king. In the absence of the king, who does the warrior serve? Yeah. He doesn't. He's waiting to do something, and he's just going to say, "Don't take my gun away."
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't take my gun away because I don't know what I have to do yet. So I think in the absence, in the void of leadership, in the void of a clear direction,
Well,
you're going to get that, reaction. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing now. And that's one of the things